Good morning and welcome to ZEISS Cinema Talkies. Today we have, this is going to be the last webinar for this year. We will start resume again in January 2021 by, I think, the second week of January 2021. So today we have a very special guest, the first female cinematographer to be joining us in this webinar. It's Fowzia Fathima, and right now she's the Dean of uh, uh,
Head of department.
Kerala, head of department for Kerala, Karnataka Film Institute, KR Narayan, KR Narayan Film Institute in Kottayam. So welcome, Fowzia. Sorry for this mumbling a little bit. I didn't know how to introduce you. She's done a lot of feature films, even a Hollywood production with a big stars. Unfortunately, that movie was not released. That we'll talk about that later. What was the reason and all stuff. And she's worked. I think you were assisting PC sir, right?
Yeah.
You started with PC sir. He's your mentor and all stuff. Go ahead, Fatima. My first question is, how did you get into the cinema, and what was the inspiration, and what was your background? And talk to us and tell us about your journey as a cinematographer. Go ahead.
Good morning, Peter.
Good morning,
everybody. And I'm very grateful and thankful that ZEISS has invited me for this session. It's a matter of pride and honor. Thank you very much to ZEISS, which we hold in very high regard, actually.
Thank you.
I'd like to basically say that my exposure to cinema was a very regular pedestrian, factor in my growing up days. I'm very proud to say that I'm a Chennai girl, born and brought up in Chennai, and it has a very distinct. Tamil cinema has a very distinct, impact on everybody who lives there. I mean, it is so part of our culture, and I'm very glad to have grown up in that environment, and I'm also very happy to say that my family members, especially my father, and who basically is a doctor, radiologist, is a very ardent film buff, and not only that, the other family members also, my grandmother, everyone. So it got a part of lifestyle to actually go watch films, and very regularly, and see all kinds of films, because there were different fans, like Tamil, fans of say Shivaji Ganeshan films, and go with an aunt and watch all those films, and go with my grandmother and see some Muslim socials, and then with my father, my mother and father would go and watch all the releases. I mean, whether it is Tamil cinema latest films, or Bollywood, or Amitabh Bachchan, and I'm talking about 80s, and it was a heady exposure to cinema, and a lot of entertainment in that way. And it went on to catching on Hollywood films, and say the westerns, and also because we used to get all the releases, Bond films, and Hitchcock, and that was a kind of a heady exposure in my younger days. That was about it, and I hadn't. It did push me into, I was artistically oriented, and I used to paint, and that was my connection, actually, more into doing paintings and all. But I went into study history of art, and I very seriously had a relation with images, and that was a serious development that made me study history of art. And then I did my master's in Baroda in art criticism, and I should say that it became more clear in Baroda that the fine arts faculty where I studied, there was a film club which had got defunct. And some of our friends revived it, and they used to bring films from Pune archives and have beautiful screenings. Actually, very very close discussions on films and serious study of viewing and the aesthetics and the philosophy, and that kind of shifted my earlier exposure into a very serious association with what cinema is about. And it gave me an starting with classics. Actually, though we used to see some films in Doordarshan at that time, late night films, but in film club was it made a focus on say my first exposure to Ghatak and Eisenstein and Amarian. I mean, John Abraham. I mean, it was a huge influence on me to have watched those films at that point. And so for even for my dissertation in my master's, I kind of did a bridge and did a study on Tamil cinema and propaganda practice associated with cinema, and which is a unique culture, which is which has made the whole history in Tamil politics actually. So that was my study for my thesis, and it was called apotheosis as a visual construct. That is, apotheosis means making a human being into a god through visuals, and as a case study of propaganda practice in Tamil Nadu. And that became my bridge actually between the what will be a serious artistic cinema as well as the cinema of the masses, which really impacts everybody's life. So I could get a connection between both these things, and it made me curious enough to study further, and I chose to apply for FTII. And interestingly, that was 1995. It's 100 years of cinema, and it was a terrific time in Chennai with all film clubs, film societies showing films packages from all over the world. For 6 months, I was like intensely watching serious cinema, and that was my lead to FTI. And I'm happy that I topped my entrance and I joined cinematography. You may ask why cinematography. You would have done any other thing, but then I had previously done flying as a undergrad. I was a NCC cadet, and I had done private pilot license, and so I understood from that that I could see everything from a different perspective, and I'm flying, and we don't fly too high. I mean, like 1,000 feet or something, and lower and things like that. So our entire perspective of how the world is laid out in front, and that was a very intense experience. The sun has set on the ground, but then when you're up there, the sun is still there for you. So light made a big impact on me. And second was my relationship with the machine itself. I mean, I got into a synergy with the aircraft, the machine, and it was very interesting. And I just kind of, I used to start feeling like the machine and me are one. So this was my interest, basically physics and mechanics and technology, and then visuals, and then it had to be cinematography. And somehow, I feel that it's a bundle of all these things that have actually moved me to cinematography. Yeah.
Wow, great. So, aviator, cinematographer, artist, historian, and all. Thank you so much for your intro. And let me go. Let us take further. When you got into the cinema, I mean, after your all your aerial stunt and all stuff, you joined PC Sir, right? PC Sir, and
Right.
from there, how was your growth? I mean, uh, mention about Mitra. I would like to, yeah, because I
Yeah.
think it's one of the, it's a landmark movie also. Please.
Um, After, in fact, in my end of first year in institute, the what to say, the entire angst of, there were hardly anybody in the field at that point. I mean, I knew that Priya said probably he was doing the work in Bombay, and Deepthi was my immediate senior in institute. And there was always a lot of focus on, being such rarity, women behind the camera. And So the urge for me was, given the scenario, I wanted to make a mark. I mean, I needed to actually, what we were accused of, women who do cinematography don't continue, they don't pursue, they just wait. It was something that I've always, we keep hearing. So it became so strong for me that, I don't want that narrative. I wanted a narrative where, I need to be a performing, I mean, practitioner. So, in that sense, in my first year, when I came back to Chennai, I straight, headed to meet Preeti. So it was a little early. I mean, I hadn't finished my course, and interestingly, at that point, sir said that Preeta was working with him, and that was such a, very very encouraging. And he immediately said, "John, start working." And I said, "No, I'm in my first year. I would rather finish my course." And they said, "No, no, no, don't be so studious. Start working now. I mean, Preeta is there, and you can work with me." But at that point, I was a little bit more studious, definitely, when I went back. And once I course finished, I came back to Chennai, and this. There wasn't any dilemma in my head that I should go to Bombay. For me, it was like I had to come to UPC, so because to me, he is an institution in himself, and I was very sure that my aim to be a practitioner will happen, and then mm, more important than what you study in a film school, the actual practice. People start directly, they can shoot also, but then for me, I needed to get an exposure because I hadn't big production experience was very important to have at that stage. So that happened with PC sir, and he was a fantastic mentor. And honestly, to say, he kind of picked a certain trait in me that I was quite comfortable in teaching. In fact, he identified it, and he used to send me for any assignment, but with a very academic orientation. Fowzia, come back and do a session, or explain things and things like that. So that slowly gave me a confidence in both practice of lighting and cinematography, as well as the thing to communicate and share the knowledge with other people. Both for me happened. It was very significant that PC sir was my guru, and I'm so proud to have had that experience of working under him. And I got to work with some good projects, and Alai Paide, Manisar's film, was being shot, and I got to be the first assistant, and I also happened to do the second camera in the film, and it was such a learning experience because it was such a before the time of DI, and we were doing really freaking out on colors, and the way that his aesthetics was unfolding, it was such a inspiration every moment to work with him on that film. Just after that, it was that I believe Revati was planning to do her first feature, and she had approached PC sir and asked for, is there any assistant of yours who's ready to do independent work? And it so happened that I was there in that place and that position, and the time was right time, right place. And he did introduce me to her, and that's how I got to my first feature, and her debut as a director happened to be this Mitra, my friend. That's how it happened, and that definitely gave me an opportunity to do yeah to to show my work, to actually all the things that one has studied and thought about and all that. And the main thing about it is Revati had decided to shoot this film outside the country, and we had to situate it in she had decided to do it in San Jose, and that was a challenge. I mean, it's before the internet time, and you don't really have all access to stuff so easily, and so we were starting a production in States with with the lot of research which was involved, and it was laboriously done. And so I did my feature in San Francisco and San Jose. I had the good fortune to work with the Monaco labs at that time, and Arthur Freyers I had taken lights from, and I had a gaffer from there, and a very small crew of 10 people when we did the film. So it's very precious memory of that film. And the beauty of it is that being small crew, all team members. I mean, Sudha Kongara was the first AD, and she was dialogue and continuity, and Prabha was there. She was doing sound and costume. And Revati, we were all staying together, and we used to actually, set up the place in the morning before we started shooting. And end of the day, Revati and myself and Sudha, all of us, we are winding the cables and taking the lights down and things like that. So it was a fantastic experience. And for Shobana, such a veteran artist, for her, seeing her entire efforts and all that, she was amazing, and she really got involved in the work and highly cooperative. And yeah, it was a fantastic experience.
Talk to us about your Hollywood experience. I mean, the film.
Shadow of the Cobra.
Yeah, Shadow of the Cobra. Yeah.
Immediately after meeting my friend, there was a little bit of, it's post-production and everything, and the film got released. And I should honestly say that the first director that who approached me was Parthiban sir. And his message I remember very beautifully. He had seen the preview, the first projection, and he said, "Hello, Mr." He had and it was very, very warm, and he had approached me as a friend. And though I was not very clear about what kind of films that I wanted to involve in, he is a kind of person whose entire film, the script is in his mind, and you don't get a script in hand. That made me very nervous. So I said, "Please give me the script." He said, "Oh, no, 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 I'll tell you the whole narration." And the way he narrated was that I could see the edited film, the way he said it. So my kind of, my apprehension reduced, and I felt I wanted to do the work. And it was for me at that point jumping into the middle of the mainstream. And he's such a popular filmmaker, and I found, if I could do that challenge, if I could take up, because he had a name for doing fast work, and there was a thing that you're from institute, and would you take time to work, and would you take time to light? So these things and all were in my mind, and I kind of worked out a way that I could figure out how he is staging stuff and plan accordingly. And at maybe in first day, end of the first day, I could match up with what his requirement was, and we were able to really do a nice collaboration on that film. And Soundarya was there. That was the time when there was another group in Hyderabad and Ramoji Film City who had seen Mitra, my friend, and they had. I got a call saying that, "Please come for a meeting." So I was quite surprised. Hardly the film is out, and I'm wondering why and what and all that, because a lot of seniors are there. So I landed there, and I realized that it is a Hollywood production, and the entire crew was going to come from Hollywood, and they were taking a DP from India, because the production was going to be in Hyderabad in RFC, and the light unit and everybody was going to be from there. So, and I jumped onto the project. It was a kind of Temple of Doom kind of film. It's full action and a lot of graphics, and it was so thrilling for me to even imagine that scale of the work that was that was laid out to me. And I got to work with actually a cult filmmaker, Ted Nikolov, and he has got a the horror films, Dracula films based in Romania. He used to he had a big following for his style of making. And the highlight was that it had Rutger Hauer and Sean Young in the film, and that was enough. I mean, I just I was somersaulting inside. And Rutger Hauer and Sean Young means Ridley Scott's Blade Runner is the so I'm going to be working with these people, and the whole Hollywood system of production itself. So this was 2002, and it was amazing exposure for me to work in that system and that kind of a precision in terms of planning and proper call sheets. And I used to get dailies on VHS tape, but you telephony would come to me, and I like, wow, this it's nice to start off like that, and getting to do a lot of stunt work, which I push myself also, and doing a lot of risky things like hanging from a crane and taking shots and things like that. And it was 535B and sync sound and 5 camera setup with a huge miniature and plenty of action and chroma work and compositing and FX. And so yeah, I do have a picture, but anyway.
Okay, and
So
is
that's
that you?
that,
Okay.
that is me, and
Mm.
I have put a mask that time because the set had a lot of dust, and I was quite what to say, quite loud, in fact. And I used to manage the set of 100 and 200 people and make a lot of noise. And so seeing my activities, Raghu Hauer, after a shot, actually grabbed hold of me. And anyway, this is a dummy gun. He held it to my gunpoint and said, "This lady must be somebody big shot in India that."
Okay.
And it was a very, very warm moment, and I had some beautiful session with Sean Young also, because she did say that working with me was the first. This is
Okay.
Sean Young, and my director's there in the back, Ted Niccolo, and this is in a set. It was a part of a train which had been a compartment which had been created in the studio, and we had done a action sequence where the compartment after a blast is tilted, and we are all in a slope actually. The
Okay.
whole compartment is tilted, and it is the yeah in between my work, and this was a shot with Sean Young actually. We were quite
Okay.
thrilled about the yeah.
Nice. And this was not the typical, Temple of Doom kind of film, because especially in Hollywood,
Mm.
whenever they show India, I mean, they show us like, yeah, eating a monkey's brain. Temple of Doom was such a disaster movie. I was shocked. Even Steven Spielberg could make such a, big mistake.
Yeah.
Anyway, uh,
My intention to compare was that the kind of
mm,
action sequences and the visualizing of the towards a climax and things like that, where that was the kind of treatment that we were working with, and which gave me a chance to actually do the work, the complex things, and it was what to say, my textbook actually. Once I had done the work, what we could achieve, compositing and and how do you go about doing such stuff? So, in that sense, yeah, it was the scale of production which was very important experience for me, and it was my second project, second no third film. It was after Ivan with Parthivan song. This was my Shadow of the Cobra was my third film, and yes, unfortunately, the film, whatever, it should have gone places, but then, but so it gave me a confidence and a competence, and it also, later, if I were to look back at it, it pushed me towards academics also, because there was so much experience, so much knowledge I had gained that I felt that it's time for me to, share that with the younger generation, and.
Definitely. And I would also ask you about the generic questions are like people always ask this. You started with celluloid
Yeah,
and moving on to digital.
yeah.
How did you embrace this technology? Was it difficult for you, or is it? Growing from coming out of, advantage of celluloid or disadvantage, and plus and minuses of digital. Can you just elaborate?
Uh, it was. all of us were at that point. I mean, 2000 onwards, there was always this thing that things are happening in, on video. Uh, we did have beta and digibeta very popular formats, and we were doing, for high-end work, digibeta was happening, and we knew that something is around the corner, I mean, around the bend, and research is going on, and something is happening. And it was in 2005, I remember right, that Sony came out with the HDV format. And that was the first time that we could get in a prosumer camera 1920 1080 resolution. And it was a very thrilling time actually, because just before that, mini DV was there. And it was like, okay, to remember the film that came out at that time, and not yet there, not yet there. So when HDV was one step up, and I started experimenting in HDV, and I had Krishnan. Krishnan he was making his debut film, though he was a veteran advertising filmmaker. We used to collaborate with Santosh Shivam. His first feature was Mudal Mudal Mudalvare, and we started experimenting on HDV, because the nature of the film itself was about how a filmmaker is trying to make his first film, and that is his first time. So the whole film was a series of first times, and HDV lent itself to so much of experimentation and how we create the image. So that project was a learning experience, because again, to do the how is it going to finally come on the screen, because it was still in hybrid situation, shot on digital, but it was to be released on film. So the transfer from digital to film, that hybrid time it was. And I had what to say, I was studying color correction at that time, and trying to figure out how to get what was required on the screen in film. And Real Image was very much supportive, and I used to take the material and go to Real Image, and they would actually take this stuff and upgrade to 2K, and we would see the projection, and also do test for film print. And so it was Lenin sir had edited it, and that was a time where even editing process, there were repeat attempts. We had edited the whole film, and again it had to be edited in another format, and things like that were happening. So it took about 2.5 years, and it eventually reached its destination, and the film was awarded the best film at New York Independent International Film Festival, and it got a lot of awards. It went to Cairo. It got the silver in Cairo, and in Houston it got the bronze award. It was selected in Indian Panorama, and all that. So that was an amazing journey. And with that format, because of the success of that film, I did get many more people interested in, because it definitely is cost control was amazing, and it was possible to pull off in a small budget thing. And though that was not entirely my intention to shift in that area, but it just kept coming my way, and I had my next next producer literally in my house, not leaving, saying that unless you do this work, I'll not get out of the house, you have to agree. So it was like that I actually ventured into another feature, which was called Silandi. And though I'm two ways about it, because the content was not entirely up to my taste, but then uh, I managed to shoot the film in, say, in maybe in two 7 days of first schedule, and 4 days of 11 days I shot the film, and I done like 2 camera setup and everything. And the film released. It was the first film to get a D2D release. It was released in digital. Till then, the films had to be had to be shown for censor certificate, and my producer managed to swing that, and we did the first D2D film, and it was released in digital format only. And probably after some 40 days, yeah, I've got calls from different distributors and saying that is it possible to make a film print, because a lot more people want to see it. So I did this exercise of doing a film print, and then the film ran for some 100 days plus, and then got dubbed, and it became it caught everybody's fancy, because on a HTV, and you can actually make it very successful. So From there, it went on to another film. HDV was such an impactful thing that I got to do my Malayalam film also on HDV, Gulman, and it was VK Prakash, such a veteran advertising plus feature film person, and I was at that point, Red has come. Why don't we upgrade? Let's move. No. We'll have to shoot in this format. You have done two very successful films in it, and let's do this. And we'll do a comedy track, and that's how Gulmal happened. Though at that point, so I don't know what else to say. It was a very fast film, and though it was shot in Kochi all over the place, and in the middle of summer, and a lot of difficulties because of the format and the light and all that. But then, yeah, and when we finished the film, I remember going with a print to checking the projection in most of the theaters across Kerala. I got a vehicle. I said, please give me a vehicle, and me and another person. I went from theater to theater checking the projection, and because people were watching, and this was the first time that such a thing was happening in Malayalam, and I did go about doing projection setting from theater to theater on the first day of release, and doing that was my experience in HTV, and I did swear to myself that I should go on a higher resolution. Definitely, I've shot in other formats, but I got my grounding doing that work. I mean, 3 films, and I'm pleased about the fact that most of the films that I've done were very successful films, and that that has also given me another confidence about what makes a project work, and how do you, because some of the films were first time producer or first time director and stuff like that, with a lot more of responsibility on me to accomplish the whole work. So in that sense, and as a producer, even if you don't give a credit, one has actually, many cinematographers do it, and it's uncredited part of our work that you get involved in all aspects of the filmmaking. And I got my experience like that, doing many films with first time people actually.
Super, super. And in so you say is an advantage. Digital is an advantage, right?
Right.
In so many ways.
Yes.
And people now, in fact, from HDV, we came on to resolutions like 4K, 8K, and recently 12K. So definitely there is a lot of growth, and I mean, obviously because of electronics, a lot of growth is happening. Same as I would like to just mention a small point in your everyday life, your mobile phones and all stuff. What ZEISS has achieved.
Yeah.
ZEISS is a leader in lithography, in all the semiconductors where
Yeah.
you. So there is something called. I mean, you can go into the site and read about
Yeah.
EUV,
I'm aware of,
extreme ultraviolet.
extreme
Yeah,
ultraviolet
yeah.
printing. Yes.
Yeah, so this is the latest achievement. It has been 25 years of hard working. Why I'm bringing this point is you're talking about cinema and cinema lenses, but I also want to highlight how great, I mean, how complex or precise ZEISS technology and investment is, because this EUV, the way they have explained it is, you pass a ray to, this is a mirror, okay? You pass a ray to the mirror, the reflection can hit a golf ball in the moon. That is the precision you're talking about.
Absolutely.
So ZEISS is not new to optics. We started, say, 175 years ago, starting making a microscope. But now we have come a long way. 3 Oscars, technical Oscars for lenses like Master Prime and Digi Very Primes. So what I would like to ask you is how was your experience with ZEISS? Can you share? I mean, obviously, in your long years, plus with PC Sir's thing, you would have done a lot of film on ZEISS lenses. Can you share some experience on that?
Um, I should say that ZEISS is a extremely inspiring organization, inspiring company, and from the, as you said, 175 years old, and um, one can one can only say that how much the importance of light has been, or how it has evolved in the last 200 years, and more so in the last 100 years. So the perception of people, and the importance of light itself, or photons, has become like fundamental to human existence today. I mean, ever since probably the acceptance of the granular nature of light, that it is packets of energy and photon is the basic, and it also has the electromagnetic wave. It has a wave character as well as a particle nature. So application of this photon, the particle nature, becomes it has really turned the way of life for people across the world. I mean, it's such an impact into our lives, and I'm quite fascinated with this extreme ultraviolet, lithographic printing technology that has been, what to say, it's really revolutionized in day-to-day existence itself, especially from cell phone chip, the designing and the printing of the chips, which has been done by EUV technology, and the high precision polishing of the surface is so fabulous that the UV light passes through a mask, and that mask gets imprinted onto the wafer, and that wafer becomes thinner and thinner, and then you have like most advanced and sophisticated cell phones in your hand which can do magic. So from microchip technology to our glasses to cine lenses to, I mean, you name it, and ZEISS is there, and it's always there in the leading edge, and is enormous value for the work that scientifically that ZEISS has been persistently doing in last 2 centuries. It's not today, yesterday. I mean, it's a uh, impact on globally on people's lives is enormous, and I'm so glad and honored to be on this platform, actually. And ZEISS is, I should specifically talk about, the Supreme series of lenses, and also Supreme Radiance series, which, as we see, the the cinematographers who are caring for absolute control and precision about their work, and how much optics matter in that, for people who care about it. And I think the solution is in ZEISS optics, actually. And to have a aesthetic control to such a precise degree, I think ZEISS has managed it fantastically. The quality of how the different elements that go into making of a lens, and the control over each of the elements, and the precision that's going into executing such a work of art. Actually, every lens seems to be that, and especially the Radiant series, I should say. Honestly, I haven't myself used it, but my desire is to use the Radiant series at the earliest, and I would, yeah, highly, what to say, anticipate the possibilities of using such precision optics, actually, because it's a beautiful blend of high precision technology and aesthetics, and the way forward seems to be. I really don't know what else is there to do, actually, in terms of mastery and control over such precision work. And yeah, I feel somewhere getting connected to somebody like Democritus, who from 5th century BC, who anticipated the particle nature of of everything in all materials. There is a granularity which was intuited 2500 years back, and then it was much later different people had discovered things, and then Einstein did a whole lot of a revolution with relativity. And uh, somewhere in the history of humanity itself, this intuition to anticipate something so fine and microscopic, and also to apply it and to be able to control it. I think we have come a long way in making our intuition real. And Definitely ZEISS is doing in the leading edge work, completely leading edge work. I look forward to the next great thing that's going to come about from the ZEISS table. Certainly.
Unmute my mic. Okay. Thank you so much, Fozia. Another thing is, what is your advice to aspiring cinematographers? There are a lot of people listening and watching,
Hmm.
and Sunny sir is there. Sir, Sunny sir, good morning, sir. Okay,
Good
please,
morning, sir.
your advice to upcoming cinematographers, aspiring filmmakers. What is your advice? You can share your experience. I mean, you can from out of your experience. I mean, thank you.
Uh, I would say that the, the generation of people who are coming into cinema now. I mean, the younger people, they are millennials, no? Born post 2000, say, and the entire interface with technology is right from probably from childhood. I mean, what I remember, to make a phone call used to be like go to the neighbor's house types. But today it is, I mean, this entire generation has, born with gadgets in hands, and the entire, interface with this medium has been much more integral to their lives. So my thing, my very honest, request would be that figure out how these things work. I mean, the gadgets that you use and things that you are, it's so part of everything, because we are in the domain of artificial intelligence, and the more and more it is going to be used, and probably there will be a designer consciousness itself. So we are going into a space of that much of control and design using technology in life. So in this scenario, for everyone, it is very important to know our place now in this domain. How do we function, and how important and how integrated these technology is with our lives. And one cannot be what to say, naive about it, or stay out of it and only say, we are aestheticians, or we only do aesthetics. No, I would say that, integrate yourself, and just like you would have studied the Newton's laws, or Archimedes principle, I mean, gravity and things like that. You should also imbibe the digital domain in your system with that much of passion, actually. So I would just say that you begin with that, number one. Number two, the being very osmotic about things that are happening around in your environment, and in terms of what kind of content goes, because this explosion of content that's happening in, more so in this COVID time, and the amount of engagement with content, online content, that we are going through, there is therefore a premium for good content. So unless you are osmotic about your environment and things that are happening to you, unless you are so sensitive and picking up stuff, then that is the only way probably you will make sense to people around, to everybody else. So be very very osmotic, and be very absorbent about things that are happening around you, or an environment, and among people of different, in different places, different kinds of people, and all those things. And then let some genuine good content evolve, and then there is a meaning in doing something beautiful and powerful in image making. So I think it should be a complete marriage between emotions and technology, if one can say that. I mean, I'm just like pushing that, you I would just say that aim for that. You're all um, technology artists, actually. We are all technology artists, and let's probably look at a different nomenclature even to say, the practitioners in image making, who are uh, the times to come is something else it's going to be. So that's the kind of uh, mind space you need to create, and that's what I would say to people who are watching, actually. Yeah.
No, very well said. Very well said. I think yes, not only aesthetics can't. Even recently, somebody was calling me and asking me about what is the first time shooting anamorphic, what kind of aspect ratio should I go for? It is not me who can advise sitting here. It is he has to advise. So they were trying to experiment so many things, and I advised you have a look, you see in the monitor what you want, and if you go for it, is it okay? Then go for it. Because I cannot advise on your aesthetics, but I can tell you technology, what is happening and all stuff. What is happening, what you have to do. Okay, have a loose screw here, there. That's all we can work on it. I think people have to learn technology with the aesthetics. Very well said, Fowzia.
Thank
Let
you.
me ask you another question. As you mentioned, COVID, a lot of people are watching cinema and OTT platforms. Is this going to continue, or people would love to go back to cinema? Or what is the difference? Is OTT good? Cinema experience? Can you, give your thoughts on it?
I might watch a film like 20 times on the small screen, okay, on an OTT. But if I get a chance to see the same thing on big screen, I will dive. I will get into the theater because unless, say, people who have never been to a theater, that's another matter. But we are not that long out of theater. It's just been like 9 months, maybe 1 year. So it hasn't had that kind of impact. Everybody has had, and even children have had exposure to watching a film in a theater. It is a immersive, what to say, collective consciousness experience, which is so unique and beautiful, and which connects humanity actually. The filmmaker, the people on screen, all that is happening, the magic that's happening, and at the same time that everybody is, immersed in that space. It's like an amazing feel, and definitely the chance comes, even if I've watched the same film like 20 times, I'm saying, if I get a chance to see on a big screen, I would die. So no way does it undermine OTT. There's going to be a lot. It is going to continue. The impact is tremendous, and the convenience, and I really value the fact that some of the films which I would never even have access to, it's possible to watch. I mean, academically speaking, it's the most beautiful thing that has happened. I can study, and so do people, and therefore definitely caliber and quality of work is going to become evolve more. And at the same time, that big screen collective consciousness experience is precious, and it's going to get people back together. There's no doubt about it.
Super. Super. Recently, as you were mentioning, I mean, cinema is cinema. I mean, there are a lot of cinematographers whom I've interviewed recently on the webinars. Have always told me, you are committed. You are committed to watch something. In OTT or in your house, you're not committed. That committed. You can always change the plan. So that's a good thing. Recently, I watched. I would like to share this with everybody. I watched a small documentary on Al Jazeera. It is called Ghost Fleet. I recommend everybody to watch it. Beautifully shot. Shot means beautifully shot, and even the story was excellent. Please watch Ghost Fleet. Okay.
Okay.
Next, uh, what does cinema mean to you?
Oh. Oh, it's too simple and too difficult to answer. You know, what can I say? I have to think about this. Cinema is like, yeah, Peter. cinema is cinema is connection. Cinema is connection, actually, wherever it is. That the maker, the team, the collaborators have put their heart and soul, and we can connect with their heart and soul. I mean, it's a connection, and we really are social community people. I mean, people are commune. I mean, as in group and collective and larger body, and we all connect. and the whole meaning of existence is in connections. And cinema is the most precious and most beautiful connection that can ever be. It is art, actually. It touches you, and there's no life without art. So, yeah, cinema is life. It's breathing. It's part of everything. Yeah, it's like breath. It's a connection. If I'm alive and I want to be meaningful, I want to connect. I want to listen to you, and I want to be listened. And cinema makes it possible in the most beautiful way. So, yeah, cinema is life.
Super, very well said. And we are coming to the close. I would like to ask you how your new role as head of cinematography department in KR Narayan Film Institute. I
Yeah,
said it right now.
yeah.
Okay.
Actually, the name is K.R. Narayanan, National Institute of Visual Science and Arts. There's a
Okay.
little bit more aspiration in the vision to
Hmm.
integrate,
Okay.
vision is there. It's and
Can you
mm,
can you explain your new, I mean, the current role and how do you enjoy it and interaction? The first time I met you was me giving a workshop in your institute, and you were
yeah,
standing in behind closer to the door, and just checking. It was nice to meet you that way. Anyway,
yeah.
uh,
Yeah,
let's.
that was a demo on ZEISS Supreme, and you had brought in, and Somansa was the professor at the time,
Yes,
and
yes,
I had
Soman sir.
come
Yeah.
for doing practical exam in lighting, and I had just peeked inside and I saw this, and I couldn't move, I couldn't come in, I was like stuck. Okay, something is going on, and it was amazing to experience the lens at that time. Actually, to see it, it was beautiful. So. My desire would be to, to actually equip every individual student of cinema in this complex, really complex medium. It's as much as glamour and things are there and all the hype is there, but actually it's a very complex domain. And not only is it about knowing your camera and knowing your lens and the ability to choose the right things, and maybe under circumstances where you really don't have control, how do you work with what is there and still create something very unique and make your image beautiful. So that kind of a aspiration to a high quality and image experience, visual experience, creating a visual experience, and at the same time being quite grounded and being practical about how you go about things. It's a kind of that practicality and an aspiration, if one can accompanied by studiousness, that all your life cinematographer is a student, and one is always studying. Every day one is studying, so there is an innate humility that one has to cultivate, nurture in oneself, so that you remain a humble student of whatever new things that are happening in the medium. So that would be my what to say, if I were to say my vision and how I see things forward, is that be a humble student, study, 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 and aspire for the best. Really aspire for the best with your feet firmly planted on the ground. Make things happen. Have dreams, have visions, make things happen. Yeah.
Oh, very well spoken, Fauzia. It was a pleasure talking to you, and it's. I think, I hope the same sentiment will be shared by our attendees.
Thank
And
you.
if people would like to write to you, is it okay that you share your email ID?
Oh, sure, 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 sure.
You can spell it out.
It's asymmetricharmonies at gmail.com.
Wow, wow.
Asymmetric harmonies, ASYMMETRIC, asymmetric harmonies, HARMONIES at gmail.com. Basically, I accept diversity in life and diversity in people, and one can't force everybody to think like you, and we can't become like others. But then we should have a harmonious coexistence. Like, everybody is important in life. Everybody's life is important. So I mean. asymmetric harmonies at gmail.com.
I think another meaning for compromise is harmony. I think that's what I.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no, no,
Yeah?
no, no, no,
No.
no, no. Harmony doesn't imply compromise. Harmony means acceptance. You shouldn't be feel compromised. There should be understanding. Then only you can come into harmony. You have to understand, and that is the most difficult and precious part actually. Can you put yourself in the other person's shoe and see from their point of view also? If we, I mean, otherwise, how do you collaborate? How do you make a film? It will be
Of
only
course.
your vision, but then the other person's vision, if you can imbibe, you need to, and together you create an image or make a movie. It's together. It is a, I mean, that also is asymmetric harmonies. Everybody is not same up down, but then we all come together to make cinema. Yeah, in the cause of art.
Collaborative media. It's
Yeah.
one of the. It's one of the biggest. I mean, I've
Actually,
always told this, and
yeah,
that.
I would say compromise and diplomacy together. you know,
Okay, 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 okay.
Harmonies, understand.
Which I am not a fan of anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody, and wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. This will be our last webinar for this year. We will start again by second week of January. Till then, goodbye. My name is Peter Dorai, and I work for Carl Zeiss as a cine specialist. That's what they've positioned me as. And if you have any questions or queries, you can always write to me. Peter.Dorai, Dorai, at ZEISS.com, or you can always follow of the progress of what is happening with ZEISS in India. It's ZEISS Cinematography underscore India is the Instagram handle. Kindly follow, and all the best. Wishing you all, I mean, a COVID-free 2021, much better. People would like to forget 2020, but I think it is a very important part, important year in our lives, because people learned, especially me, we all learned so many things to stay back at home, and so many things we learned. I think it is a very necessary. That's what I feel, necessary part of our life. And wishing you a happy new year and a fantastic year ahead. Thank you so much. God bless. Bye bye.
And from my side, thanks to Zeiss, and keep charming us and enthralling us with your products and with your research and the scientific leads that Zeiss has been doing. Really look forward to that. And I also wish everybody grand 2020, 21, so that like Phoenix, we rise from 20 to 21. We hopefully are more empowered with the knowledge and experience of restraint that has taught us in 2020, and value everything that we get in 21. Really value it and do things in a collaborative and harmonious way, and let there be peace. Let there be peace and harmony. Best wishes to all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.